for the last 8 years, since 2012, the poor DACA people have been political pawns from one administration to the other.
Well, it doesn't seem like that's going to happen overnight. So President Trump terminated the program yesterday, which was September 5th, and decided to do a phase out, meaning that he gave Congress a 6-month window to actually come up with a legal alternative.
The tech industry isn't very happy with President Trump's latest orders. So it's going to have a significant chilling impact.
The people that own property are ticked off because they're paying taxes and utilities and they can't go up and use their property.
All you can do is either make sure that you meet one of the requirements under the new order, or if you can't, you can change your status, you can request visitor status, but there's nothing you can do at this point to challenge these new rules.
It is a way of steering a different wave of immigrants to the U.S., those that are coming in financially stable.
Immigration attorney Rosanna Berardi says coming to the U.S. under the new public charge rules will be a lengthy process.
They are going to have to produce a lot of information that most people, even U.S. citizens, don't have at their fingertips.
Executive orders are never good, right? Executive orders are intended for really extreme circumstances. They aren't intended to circumvent the legal process. And the U.S. Constitution does say the word persons to be counted, but there are sides to both of the arguments of what exactly is a person.
If you have a work permit or you're a healthcare worker, you can certainly go back and forth. The border is open for those purposes, but they just are trying to eliminate recreational travel. I'm hoping to see that we don't allow this brain drain, as they call it, to continue happening. I hope to see a meaningful way of keeping those that are going to help our society, our economy, various industries remain in the United States.
Next on our town hall, a month after the Supreme Court ruled that the Trump administration could not end DACA, it is back in the news. DACA stands for Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. It's the Obama-era program that allows hundreds of thousands of undocumented immigrants who were brought here as children to stay in this country.
The Trump administration announced some new temporary restrictions to the program. They will now limit renewals for DACA to 1 year instead of the usual 2, and not accept new applications. They said these changes are temporary until next steps are determined. Well, joining us live is Rosanna Berardi. She's the managing partner of Berardi Immigration Law here in Buffalo. Rosanna, thanks for being here with us.
Always great to be here.
So, Rosanna, we want to hear your reaction to these changes. But first, I want you and our audience to listen what President Trump himself said as he was making this announcement.
We are going to make DACA happy and the DACA people and representatives happy, and we're also going to end up with a fantastic merit-based immigration system.
So, Rosanna, what are we to make of these changes, and do they really, as the president said, make the DACA people happy?
No, not at all. And think about it. For the last 8 years, since 2012, the poor DACA people have been political pawns from one administration to the other regarding this executive order. And President Trump came out yesterday and basically said, listen, the Supreme Court didn't make a substantive decision on whether DACA was legal or not. They kicked it back due to procedural issues. But he came out yesterday and said, we're going to wipe the slate clean. We're not going to accept any new applications. And we really think Congress should tackle this, which, like the president and the administration or not, when we're talking about creating a body of law, where is Congress? I keep saying that over and over again. Congress has had since 2012 to make this right for DACA recipients and dreamers. There's 800,000 people whose lives are on the line, and every administration that's come and gone since 2012 uses them as checkmate in a complicated political chess game.
That's the point well taken, Roseanne. We mentioned that the Supreme Court ruled the way the Trump administration tried to end DACA was unconstitutional. That's what they said. So it kind of feeds into what you said about Congress kind of deferring on taking any kind of action. So do you think these new changes that the president announced today are in line with that ruling, or do you think it's going to go back to the court, or is he trying to pressure Congress to do something? What do you think?
I think he's trying to pressure Congress to do something, and I hope no matter who wins in the 2020 election, that Congress does do something. We've got 800,000 people whose lives are on the line. These poor folks thought a few months ago, due to the Supreme Court decision, that they were in good shape. Now, yesterday, they find out this decision. It's like living on a roller coaster. They don't know whether they can stay or go. And we really need Congress to intervene. Forget the president here. It doesn't matter which party. We need Congress to make the laws. And I would really welcome that. And, this has been going on since 2012, one executive order after the other, which in a democracy, got to be careful. We don't want presidents making law. I know it's dangerous and it's an easy thing to do to sidestep Congress, but let's have Congress address this in a meaningful way so people can get on with their lives.
So immigration is actually quite low on the list of priorities for American voters, if you believe all of the national polls. Usually comes in the single digits. Now, to be fair, at the moment we are living through an unprecedented pandemic. The economy, unemployment is what it is. But this is still an election year. So is that how this ultimately gets decided and settled, is in November? Or can we just expect all the politicians to continue to punt?
Well, I have to tell you, I hope, because it's an election year, that something happens. But the last time the U.S. immigration law changed in a meaningful way was in 1997. I mean, think about that. That's 20 plus years where we've not had Congress make any meaningful movement on U.S. immigration law. So I think the Trump administration is hitting this hard because we are in an election cycle. And don't forget, in 2016, when President Trump campaigned, this was a cornerstone issue. Remember the wall? And remember hearing all about tightening the border and making America great again. I think all of these orders, the travel ban, DACA, I think that is an attempt to remind people that immigration is still an issue. Now, it's definitely been superseded by the economy and double-digit unemployment, but it's still really important. Foreign nationals play a huge role in our economy in terms of filling jobs. We need to hit the right balance, and I really hope, regardless of who's elected in 2020, we get Congress to do something.
Yeah, a bipartisan call to action there. Rosanna Berardi, really great having your perspective on this. Rosanna is an immigration attorney and always helpful when we need some insight on this. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.
My pleasure.